You ready?
You have to have a crystal ball.
It's 7 p.m. on Monday, November 3rd, 2025, and I will call this regular City Council meeting to order. I do want to thank everyone that's joining us this evening, and if Councilmember Peretti would lead us in the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Whalen asked to be excused this evening.
Make a motion.
Councilmember Whalen.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved by Councilmember Peretti and seconded by Councilmember Strader to excuse Councilmember Whalen this evening. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 6-0. I just want to note that we have Planning Manager Stallnecker with us, Director Madden, Interim Director Robeck, Assistant Chief Champagne, and City Clerk Tricia Summers. Just as a reminder, we do have 2 public hearings tonight, and so if you want to speak at those, please sign up or chase down the clerk. And then we also have public comment time as well. So first we have citizen participation. So we have 1 person signed up for citizen participation. So a friendly reminder that this public comment period at this meeting is for those wishing to address the council on any matter. It's not intended for debate and discussion with the public. Please remember to state your name and city for the record, and we kindly remind you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. We have Rachel, is it Shin?
My name's Rachel Shin. I signed in, I thought it was just to be part
Okay.
to listen. I want to be.
You just want to be part of it. Okay, welcome. So did you want to speak at those public hearings or no? Okay, thank you.
I was just stating.
Okay, that you are here.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, welcome to council. So that concludes citizen participation. Moving on to additions and deletions. Is there any additions or deletions to tonight's meeting? Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to pass?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's moved by Councilmember Strader and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to pass the consent agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 6-0. Our first item this evening is a presentation by Judge Allen, and so I will welcome her to the podium.
All right, Council and Mayor, thank you very much for having me today. I am the Milton Municipal Court Judge, and as of December of 2025, I will have been the judge for 20 years. And prior to that, I was the prosecutor for about 12 years. So I have a long history with the city of Milton. I'm going to give you some background on what the court does, and then also some statistics. Feel free to jump in if you have any questions. The Milton Municipal Court is a court of limited jurisdiction, so we handle misdemeanor crimes, civil infractions, parking infractions, and soon to start the photo infractions. The misdemeanor crimes, we've got simple misdemeanors, which has a maximum penalty of 90 days in jail and a $1,000 fine. And then we have the gross misdemeanors, which are 364 days in jail and a $5,000 fine. The type of cases for gross misdemeanors are DUI, domestic violence, theft, simple misdemeanors. Those are like driving with license suspended, 3rd degree, criminal trespass, 2nd. We do civil infractions. Those are our speeding tickets, no insurance, failure to transfer your title. Those type of, civil infractions, those are like speeding tickets, or having no insurance. We do parking infractions. Those are usually the fire lane or disabled parking violations. And soon we'll be starting our photo violations, and those are the red light, school zone, and park zones. These are some of the statistics. You can see in 20 and 21 that the caseload was down significantly. That was for two reasons. First, that the COVID, and then second, that our Washington State Legislature changed the pursuit laws and only allowed officers to pursue persons if they found probable cause that a violent offense was occurring. So then in 2024, the legislation changed again, and now officers are allowed to pursue if they have a reasonable suspicion that any crime has been committed. So it's no longer a violent offense, and it gives the officers a lot more discretion to contact individuals and pursue what they perceive might to be a crime. The numbers that we have are through August of 2025. I've estimated that we will be up 56% from 2024. And then if I can call your attention to the DUI numbers. The DUI numbers for and physical control for 2025, year to date through August, are over double what they were in 2024. And we haven't hit the holidays yet. So I'm assuming that they will be significantly higher than that 40 we have right now.
Judge Allen, we have a question.
Yes.
Councilmember Strader?
What are those numbers compared to, say, prior to COVID? What were the numbers for prior to 2000?
2019 would be a good estimate. The criminal traffic it's down there. The criminal cases were similar. I think they're about 20% higher now than they were in 2019. So we took a big dip, and now we're moving back up.
I'm interested before that, like 2016, 17. Did you see a significant, or maybe do you, just off the top of your head, do you know
I
if it
do
increased?
not.
Okay.
I do not recall back in 2016 or 17.
Or-
I can pull those figures from the Administrative Office of the Courts. I almost took out 2019 because I thought we were going back too far.
Oh.
So part of the increase that we've had, and which is a significant increase to the court, are the drug charges. In 2021, our Supreme Court found that our drug laws were unconstitutional. In response to that, our legislature implemented new laws that went into effect in 2023. But instead of having them to be felonies that were filed in Superior Court and heard in Superior Court, they made them misdemeanors. So it's a misdemeanor with a maximum penalty of 180 days in jail and a $1,000 fine for the first two, and then it goes up to 364 days in jail and a $1,000 fine if you have a third or subsequent offense. So what used to be a felony charge is now being heard in the court of limited jurisdiction. When they passed the legislation also, they encouraged diversion and rehabilitation versus conviction and punishment. So a lot of these drug cases are on diversions, where if they do treatment and get the help that they need, that at the end of the diversion period, they receive a dismissal. The things that we've been doing to basically cope and address these issues is we now have a substance abuse evaluator in court every week. They can take defendants at the request of the public defenders into a conference room and evaluate them right there. We're hoping they don't have a lot of motivation to help themselves, so we're trying to get the tools in the courtroom to help them right there. We've also have a resource calendar, which is the last Tuesday of every month, where we try to group all the drug cases together. We have several public defenders that come in for that calendar and additional support staff from their team that come in and work with these defendants to try to get these through the system. So as far as our hearings held, so far through August, we've had 1,500 criminal hearings and 268 infraction hearings in 2025. I estimate that the criminal hearings will be about 2,300 by the end of this year. And we take 2 years jurisdiction on all criminal cases except for DUI and domestic violence, and there we take 5 years jurisdiction. But we're setting lots of review hearings on these drug cases because it's not just like we're monitoring for law-abiding behavior. We have to continue to set review hearings until they get their evaluation, they get in treatment, they get in compliance. So we're seeing a lot of these people back in the court, you know, every other month or so, trying to get them in compliance with their drug treatment. An additional increase to our hearings is in September, the Washington State Supreme Court implemented a new court rule. So before on arraignments that for defendants in custody, we had 14 days to bring them to arraignment when they were booked in custody. The rule changed on September 1st. We now have 3 days, excluding weekends and holidays. So what I've had to do is add another arraignment calendar for in-custody hearings on Friday mornings. So that's an additional court calendar that we are at least scheduling for every week. We don't always have the in-custodies, but we have to schedule that out, and the public defenders and prosecutors also have to schedule out that time to be available. Jury trials, whoa, let me back up here. Jury trials, we've had 23 scheduled this year. We've had one that went to jury trial, and we have one scheduled this Thursday. We'll find out tomorrow whether or not it goes for sure. I do have a local rule that I implemented that I don't allow plea bargaining on the day of trial, so that either needs to be done at readiness or at pretrial status. So either it will go to trial, the defendant will plead guilty as charged, or the city, if they cannot prove it, will dismiss it. So those are the 3 options. We do jury trials once a month. The trial usually lasts 1 day. We usually subpoena in 150 jurors. And out of that, about 30 show up and respond. And from that 30, then we impanel a jury of 6 with 1 alternate. So we don't have a very good success rate getting people to want to participate in jury duty. So looking ahead in 2026, 2027, we're going to be starting photo infractions. I believe the go live is next Monday?
Yeah, it's the 6th.
The 6th. Okay, I thought it was the 10th, but it goes live on the 6th. The chief told me this week when I talked to him that in the last 3 weeks, there was 3,500 violations that were given warnings. So we'll be starting our calendars in December and should be in full swing by January. I may, at some point in the future, come back to the mayor and council and ask for additional resources to do a therapeutic type court, whether it's a drug court or a community court, just depending on how the caseload increases with all of the different drug offenses and people that need treatment. But that's just something that I'm looking to in the future. And lastly, we're getting a new statewide case management system. It's called Enterprise Justice. And Milton should be on board with that by the end of 2026. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for Judge Allen? All right. Well, thank you, Judge Allen, for your time this evening.
Well, I appreciate you guys allowing me to come give you an update on what the court is doing.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So council, we have two public hearings tonight. I'm just going to open and close since we do not have anyone signed up for those. The first one is on page 15 of your packet. It is the public hearing for the 2026 budget revenue sources. So I am, Director Robeck, can I just open and close the public hearing and then you can do your presentation? Oh, wait, no, because we have it on the agenda, right, later?
Yeah, the tax
Yeah.
levy is a,
So since we
is
don't
an
have,
actual.
since we don't have anyone signed up, do you mind if we just open and close and then you can present during?
I think that's fine.
Okay, you're good with that. Planning Manager Stallnaker, are you good with that as well?
Yeah, there's no reason to.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I will now open the public hearing at 7:16 PM to take public comment on the 2026 budget revenue sources. We have no one signed up to speak, so I will close the public hearing at 7:16 PM. Our second public hearing this evening before council is for critical areas code update. I will open this public hearing at 7:16 PM to take comment on the critical areas code update. We do not have anyone signed up for this public hearing, so I will close this public hearing at 7:16 PM. So council, our first item, regular item this evening is on page 71 of the packet. It is a discussion item only. It is the first read of ordinance 2126-25 for tax, property tax levy. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Interim Director Robeck.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The city must adopt and submit the tax levy ordinance by November 30th of each year. The attached ordinance pertains to the increase in the regular levy only, exclusive of additional revenue from new construction. Amounts for this ordinance are provided by Pierce County and are calculated as shown in the agenda bill. And so this is a request to increase the property taxes by the 1%. Anyone have any questions, comments?
Okay. So this comes back in 2 weeks?
Yes.
Yes, so this will come back in 2 weeks. Next item in the, on the agenda starts on page 77 of the packet. It is for ordinance 2125-25, amending the critical areas section of our code. I'm going to turn the floor over to Planning Manager Stallnaker, and then following her review, I will need a motion to open up the floor.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This was presented at the last meeting as sort of the introduction and the first reading. So basically, this is sort of the final piece of the mandatory 2024 comprehensive plan update. Associated with that update, we were supposed to update our development codes, which we did at the same time to make sure they match. And then we were also supposed to do an update to the critical areas ordinance. They did have an option that if you had significantly done all the other work, this update could be extended through through December of 2025, and we took them up on that option. So the update is basically driven by requirements from the various state departments. It's related to the, it's obviously related to the environment and all of our critical area associated codes. It's most of those changes are technical in nature. We're not proposing any policy changes in and of ourselves. The state 60-day comment period ended on October 20th, 2025. That was after the last meeting. We did receive some final comments from the Department of Ecology and the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And so those have been incorporated. The majority of those continue to be to make sure that our definitions are aligned and wording is updated with the RCW and WAC. I would say the only real significant changes was DOA is proposing, if you look on page 54 through 56. They had some proposed changes to how the performance standards when you're categorizing wetlands and if you're excusing wetlands are calculated. They have requested that only Category 4 wetlands have the option of not being, is basically being exempted from the rules. And so we have changed that. They also adjusted the points a little bit. So that's what's on page 56. So again, I have just copied the templates that were provided us by the Department of Ecology. And then the final is table 2, which is on 56 to 57.
Planning Director Stalnecker, I'm really sorry to interrupt. I don't think the page numbers you're giving them is correct because this one starts on page 77 of our packet.
So I'm backing up to the hearing section.
You're backing up. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
The hearing section is
I got
highlighted
it.
in yellow, so it's a little clearer to
Okay.
see what changed from the last meeting. So, yeah.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes. It's a little backup. So those are the only real, like I said, most of it is definitions, wording, making sure that the references are where the new, some of them, the WACs and the RCWs moved. All of these changes with the ecology and the wetlands, it sort of just protects them a little bit better, make sure that that we're hitting those higher standards. And then, so table 2, which is 56, 57, and 58, it just expands the examples so that people have a better understanding of when we say noise or toxic runoff, what those things could be. So those are the biggest things. Wanted to emphasize, and the only other thing for them and Department of Ecology is on page 59, emphasizing that averaging buffers, the idea being that if you're like, a lot of times wetlands are not round, they go off in different directions. And so sometimes you can say, okay, we'll sort of round them off for you. We won't make you have a buffer as maybe we'll shrink it 10 feet here, but we'll add that 10 feet there. And so it's sort of, you end up with the same amount, you're just sort of averaging. That's the priority. But then depending on if they go through the proper sequences, there are other options, anywhere from reduction to complete replacement somewhere else or paying into a fund. So there's different steps. That all stays the same. None of that is drastically changing. And then again, the only thing, the Department of Fish and Wildlife, just sort of, again, fine tuning some of the definitions. And then they did ask that we increase the buffer, which again, on the hearing copy on 65, where it's highlighted in yellow, the riparian buffer from 65 to 100 feet for water types that are categorized as NS. Just a reminder, when we do all of these, when it comes to critical areas, if a property appears to be within a critical area, has critical areas or is near critical areas, we require them to submit a critical areas report, which follows all of these guidelines by a biologist. And then we have on contract a biologist who reviews it for us. Because again, as much as I understand some of it, it can get quite technical. And so basically it's their professional, our professionals verifying that it sounds correct. We did have one project where we disagreed strongly, and to the point of we said we would deny it, and then they took it all the way up to the State Department of Ecology and the Corps of Engineers, who sided with the city, and so they had to change their project. So it does work. Most of the time, we find we work really well. They say this is the steps, this is what we're doing. Usually, like you said, it's kind of averaging and adjusting and stuff. So anyway, those are the additional changes that came in over the last couple days. So based on that, we held the public hearing tonight. And then, yes, so then on 79 is the clean version of the ordinance, and staff recommends approval.
Anyone like to make a motion? Councilmember Hall?
Move to adopt ordinance 2125-25, amending the critical areas ordinance.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Hall and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to adopt ordinance 2125-25, amending the critical areas ordinance. Councilmember Hall, did you want to speak to your motion?
I appreciate you bringing this. I know I do a lot of walking, and I'm noting WestDOT doing work down there in Fife and flooding happening, and I'm confident. Are you confident that this will cover that, or are they responsible for that part of it? How do you interface when you have critical areas?
So this deals with if a new project is going to be built, wanting to make sure we're measuring, monitoring, protecting. A lot of times it does mean, so like when the church, they're actually going to be improving a bunch of their wetlands to compensate for for the development going in. So in that aspects, those work really well. When Sound Transit comes through, they will have to deal with us as well. Yeah, and so they will have to follow the code. And again, when you look at SR 167, because what they're doing is so substantial, they are like that final state of what they call mitigation. And so yeah, they're building all new wetlands to replace all the ones but in some ways, if you do it right, you're taking all these scattered wetlands and you're putting them all together in one spot. That actually can make it healthier. And then, so yeah, and we do try to, when those projects overlap, we coordinate with each other.
So this is only for new construction, but it wouldn't, those wetlands down there is separate
Well,
from this?
if it's in the city of Milton and somebody's wanting to do maintenance on it, or if they're violating, then this code would
Oh, okay.
definitely step in.
Okay.
So
all
yeah,
right.
it outlines, like if you're next to it, what you can take out blackberry bushes, but you can't, mow everything. So yeah, it addresses all of that.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, did you have anything to speak to your second?
Yes, thank you. So these will also, how often will in these critical areas, will the situation be monitored going forward?
So this is sort of just an update of our existing. It depends on what the project is. So like the bridge development, they have to give us reports, I think, every year for 5 years. The church, I think, is very similar. I don't know if it's 5 years, but it's several years. And then part of what does require is if you are setting, if you're going in, you're developing, you're setting aside these wetlands, you're going to, you get to put up the nice, fun wooden fence, and you put up the signs that say this is wetland, so people are aware of it, and you do those buffers. And so you're also bringing attention to those. A lot of times you have to do replanting. So we don't actively, after that amount, go out necessarily and check them all, but like anything else, if we see or hear or get reports, and people are if they know something is a wetland near them, they are quick to give us a call, and we go out and figure out what's going on, so.
And all of these, I like that all these agencies have stepped in with their little area of expertise, and they help tweak.
Yeah, so anything
This-
that is a zoning change, we do submit to the state for 60 days. Most of the time, they're not too concerned. They're not too concerned about our fence regulations or something. But yes, in this, that was, I was thankful that they provide us information and then they gave us really specific comments back, which helps.
Okay. So for instance, with the apartments that are, even though it's a small job that they're doing on the corner of Milton Way and Taylor. So that too, they have to go through some environmental scrutiny before they start doing that?
Yeah, it's a different, so in that case, there's no critical areas specifically on there. There's no wetlands or streams or whatever, but they did have to, another section of, this is all in Title 18, another section does deal with the SEPA. So they have to do a checklist. So they have to talk about all their impacts they may do. And then in our landscaping, we have some of the tree replacements that they'll have to do. So it's a different form of review, but there are definitely different things that get hit when larger projects go in.
Because it would seem though, even with a project like that, they're going, no pun intended, but it's going to affect things downstream.
Yes,
No,
yeah,
I
we
mean, it goes without saying.
yeah, we
right? So they-
review for stormwater to make sure that any runoff is done on site. And that's definitely with the help of the engineers, and our operation stormwater inspector helps with all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm confident in this. It was,
Yeah.
especially when you have it go through.
Yeah, so
3
this was, the
agencies.
original was adopted and approved, and these are just the updates to, like I said, terms change, technology, numbers change a little bit. So it's just taking our existing document and bringing it up to whatever's the current
Okay.
standards.
Yeah, technical. Yeah, that's a good word for it. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? Hang on, Councilmember Hall. I just want to make sure. Anyone else? Okay, Councilmember Hall?
One more question. So if the wetlands shift, do we go back and identify that?
Not unless there was something to, like if they were going to do a new development or something, but that's part of why they create buffers. So
Right.
they will go out and they'll delineate, they'll kind of mark out, they'll look at the soils and all, and the vegetation and everything. And they'll mark, this is the, wetland area. Then they determine there's different levels of quality. And so they go through and the biologists determine all those things. And then depending on what it is, they also then add a buffer. So that could be 100 feet, it could be 150 feet, and then that helps protect within that. So yeah, if it kind of comes and goes and moves, because water doesn't always stay exactly where we want it to. So yeah, it gives it that protection. And then also tied to the streams, which is an area that both Public Works, Madden and I have talked about trying to, because a lot of those are existing properties that have a stream in their backyard, and maybe over time work with those property owners to improve the stream habitat, some of the buffers. There's vegetation and trees that would help in those areas. So those would be things where we would go into, at some point, if that's when we have money, time, as things go through. But that is something we would love to go into those property owners and just say, hey, how can, we can work together to maybe improve some of those. So those things are streams and are covered as well in this.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. It's been moved by Councilmember Hall and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to adopt ordinance 2125-25, amending the critical areas ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 6-0. The next item on our agenda is on page 119 of the packet. It is ordinance 2124-25 for a budget amendment number 4 of this year. I'm going to turn the floor over to Interim Director Robeck for a review, and then following that review, I will need a motion to open up the floor.
Thank you again, Mayor and Council. The proposed ordinance provides adjustments to the 2025 budget as adopted by City Council in December of 2024. This is the 4th ordinance amending the 2025 budget and reflects changes that have occurred since adoption of the original budget. These adjustments are detailed in the accompanying Exhibit A, and this ordinance was presented on October 20th for the first reading. If this ordinance is passed tonight, I will incorporate these changes into the preliminary budget document that's coming back at the next study session.
Can I get a motion? Councilmember Cedar?
Move to adopt ordinance 2124-25, amending the 2025 budget as detailed in Exhibit A.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Cedar and seconded by Councilmember Hall to adopt ordinance 2124-25, amending the 2025 budget as detailed in Exhibit A. Councilmember Cedar, did you want to speak to your motion?
Just to say that I don't see anything surprising here. We talked about it at the 20th meeting. Nothing to add.
Okay. Councilmember Hall?
I just appreciate how clear and concise this is. Easy to read, easy to understand. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns from council? Okay, this is an action item. Are there any comments from the audience? Okay. It's been moved by Councilmember Cedar and seconded by Councilmember Hall to adopt ordinance 2124-25, amending the 2025 budget as detailed in Exhibit A. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 6-0. Our next item this evening is on, I'm sorry, I did not tab it, so let me find it. And if anyone's faster than me,
125.
125? Oh, I did tab it. I missed it. Okay, page 125. So this item is Resolution 25-1990 for Bonneville Power Administrator Power Sales Agreement. I'm going to turn the floor over to Director Madden, and then following his review, I will need a motion to open up the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. The item before you tonight is an action item, and it will give the mayor the authority to sign the next term of BPA's power sale agreement. This next term will be for the next 16 years. It'll go from 2028 through 2044. This is a requirement for the city to sign this and return it by December 5th of this year if the city would like to continue to purchase power through BPA. This is the resolution, as I said, will authorize the mayor to sign the contract. This contract will take effect in October 1st of 2028.
Councilmember Cedar?
I move to authorize the mayor to execute the Bonneville Power Administration Power Sales Agreement Contract Number 26PS-25057.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Cedar and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to authorize the mayor to execute the Bonneville Power Administration Power Sales Agreement Contract Number 26PS-25057. Councilmember Cedar, do you want to speak to your motion?
Just to ask, any interaction with this and the potential electric rate changes that we're going to be having, or the tie-in, I guess, process that we discussed a couple weeks ago?
Any dealings with BPA after October 1st, 2028 will be held to this contract language, which spells out how we will work with BPA to acquire backup transmission. And it does identify the point of demarcation, the exit, the downstream out of the substation. So BPA's obligation is to get power there. BPA has authorized a study with PSE and has funded that study to pursue that power backup. And that's where we currently are with PSE. I should have also noted that legal has reviewed this contract and endorsed it.
Appreciate that. I just can't, what would be the option? Imagine if we didn't pass it. Like, what is the secondary option?
That we scramble for the next 3 years and try to find federal authority to purchase through someone else's balancing act. All of these large utilities that are sourcing power, whether they're developing it here through hydro or it's part of the federal program, it's a long, lengthy process. Cities of our size and staff levels typically go through BPA.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I think the length of the contract speaks to that. So, yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, did you want to speak to your second?
Yes, thank you. So when it refers to the third-party vendor or the third-party provider, would that be PSC in our case?
It would be with a new tie. Our existing tie, that third party is Tacoma Power.
Okay, that's what I thought. And this is highly, highly technical. That took a long time to read through that.
Thank you for reading it.
And,
Yes.
it was very interesting trying to read, not in between the lines, but trying to interpret. And that was it. So in the end, where our rates are now, I don't know if you're able to answer this. Where will the rates be? Because they're doing differential pricing that's what I'm getting from this, correct?
Correct.
You and I kind of talked about that before. So, but where will and the two tiers, so you have commercial and you have residential, will they be better off than they're rate-wise? Both of those parties, both those tiers? Or if it will be a little bit more, roughly how much more will it be?
It's very difficult to tell right now, and that was one of our challenges with this electric rate study, because BPA hasn't rolled out the exact pricing philosophy after 2028. So while they're requiring us to sign this contract, there's still some unknown elements to how they're going to price that. And you're right, they're going away from a static pricing model to a more dynamic,
Right.
which will follow seasonal curves. And so people's bills may look different. BPA's response to that has been average yearly costs will stay close to the same.
Okay. And also, it's not just going to be based on seasonal, correct? It'll actually, when it go even during the day, if the peak, correct?
Correct.
If people are using more in the evening, then the rate will go up. So run your dishwasher when you go to bed.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
It'll be seasonal in the sense of Milton's highest power consumption is in the winter through heating, but it'll be hours of the day, as you stated, and it'll fluctuate, and it'll to a small degree. And what they're trying to do is recover their actual costs, and it's more of an on-demand pricing model.
Correct, right. And so the theory for them is that the rates are higher at that time because the demand is higher, so there's more stress on the equipment.
Correct.
Correct? That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Strader.
Are there any areas in the language in the contract that you possibly see could be a problem?
There's nothing that we can control. The big problem that the industry is wrestling with, and all BPA customers are, is the Tier 2 cost rates. We had quite a bit of concern over our likelihood of going into Tier 2 with the new build-out of the warehouses. We're not seeing the demand with the current, with Boeing and other current tenants. And so we're currently able to stay into our Tier 1. But that's the big risk, and that's what the industry is talking about is Tier 2. How do they cover those costs? How do their contracts protect citizens who are not using Tier 2 from paying Tier 2 rates? So that's something that the city will need to wrestle with and finalize prior to October 1st, 2028.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns from council? All right, it is an action item. Are there any comments from the audience? All right. It has been moved by Councilmember Cedar and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to authorize the mayor to execute the Bonneville Power Administration Power Sales Agreement Contract Number 26P2-25057. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 6-0. The next item this evening is on page 249 of your packet. It is Resolution 25-1991 for some right-of-way purchase. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Director Madden, and then following his review, I'll need a motion to open up the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. The action item before you tonight is to allow the city to purchase 10 feet of right-of-way through a right-of-way acquisition. This property that we're discussing is, it borders the Selvig Baptist Church to the north, and it is on 23rd. So that, the city doesn't currently have right-of-way to expand the sidewalk. When we were approached by the current homeowner this summer, she provided an offer that was within the limits of our other appraisals that we've been doing throughout the city on 23rd as we build out the sidewalk network. Those appraisals are, for council's kind of awareness are coming in at $14 to $17 a square foot. And so we felt that her price was fair based on the other appraisals that we've conducted in the city. And this will allow us to continue to build the sidewalk to the north. There are 2 more parcels that we will need to acquire. And then we will have the majority of the right-of-way to build the sidewalk from the skate park down to Taylor.
Councilmember Cedar?
Move to authorize the mayor to execute the purchase and sale agreement between the city of Milton and Qizhong for the purchase of right-of-way easement at 1411 23rd Avenue, Pierce County, parcel number 0420043015 in the amount of $10,000, 0 cents.
Second.
That was a long motion. It's been moved by Councilmember Cedar and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to authorize the mayor to execute the purchase and sale agreement between the City of Milton and Qizhong for the purchase of right-of-way easement at 1411 23rd Avenue, Pierce County, parcel 0420043015 in the amount of $10,000 and 0 cents. Councilmember Cedar, do you want to speak to your motion?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for bringing this forward. So my understanding then, that if the Slavic Church on one side, is the sidewalk already complete on the other connection side, or is the right-of-way already in Milton's possession there?
Is that along Taylor that you're referring to?
So my understanding, this is on 23rd, right?
Correct. Yes, this is on 23rd. So your question, is the sidewalk built out for the church?
No, it is, I think, right?
Correct.
So, and then this will be that short segment at 1411, and then on the other end, I guess I didn't drive up there this week, but is there a gap there
There's 2 more parcels.
that we'll have to acquire right-of-way on?
Correct, that are around the 680 square feet as Mrs. Zhang's.
And is there any negotiation or status of those at this point?
Not at this point.
Okay. So we'll do this kind of piece by piece and then go and do the project in one fell swoop.
Right. We're doing this one piece by piece because it was an opportunity that was presented to the city. The appraisals that we're conducting on the north end of 23rd up by Alder, we're conducting all of those at the same time, and we're working with all of the homeowners concurrently to purchase that right away so we can build that sidewalk out. That one's already designed. I will say that this section of right away that we're talking about today, that 10 feet will allow us to continue our bike lane, planter, and 5-foot sidewalk.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think everybody on council has expressed a desire to see more Milton sidewalks, and this is what it takes to get it done. So I appreciate you bringing this forward and being proactive.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, did you want to speak to your second?
Yeah, just to ditto off of that, yeah, just any way we can get, complete the sidewalks and complete those gaps, I'm all for that. So thank you for going through the negotiation, doing that. And the further negotiations that you're going to have to do.
Yeah.
But
Any other council comments, concerns, questions? Okay, it is an action item. Are there any comments from the audience? All right. It's been moved by Councilmember Cedar and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to authorize the mayor to execute the purchase and sale agreement between the City of Milton and Qizhong for the purchase of right-of-way easement at 1411 23rd Avenue, Pierce County, parcel number 0420043015 in the amount of $10,000 and 0 cents. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 6-0. Moving on to our next item this evening, it is on page 265 of your packet. Council, we, whether you're aware or not, are part of the South County Area Transportation Board, which serves as a group for transportation needs in the South King County area. We meet, I think it's the third Tuesday of each month at 9 o'clock in the morning. We've been a part of this group for the last 4 years. The contract has come to an end. And so they are asking that we sign a new contract to be part of the board. I believe it's $100 a year that we pay, and that really is just to cover the expense of who's hosting the meeting if it's in person, but I do attend online, so you can do, it's hybrid. So I would like council to approve this agreement so we can continue on this board in the future. Can I get a motion?
I move to authorize the mayor to sign the updated Sound County Area Transportation Board interlocal agreement as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker and seconded by Councilmember Hall to authorize the mayor to sign the updated SCATP-TB South County Area Transportation Board interlocal agreement as presented. Mayor Pro Tem, did you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, thank you. I do believe that boards like this are very important to give us a voice out there, and I'm glad that you've been going to those and that we've been a member of that, and I think it's imperative that we remain a part of that board, and so that we have input, and also we can hear what other cities on the board, also what their opinions are, their concerns.
Perfect. Councilmember Hall?
I
Oh, wait, yeah, you were the second. I'm sorry. Yes, Councilmember Hall, did you want to speak to your second?
I also agree. I think it's very important that we coordinate with other cities on this, because we probably have the same questions, issues as others. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? And I just want to note for next year, it does not have to be the mayor that sits on this board. And so I don't remember how this all started, to be quite honest, but it just showed up on my calendar, so I just went to it. But there are many, I'm one of it's about 50-50 between council members and mayors. So I just do want to throw that out there, that when you have a new council and new mayor, that it doesn't have to necessarily be the mayor. And I do think it's a valuable group. Councilmember Cedar?
This was the first time I'd actually heard of this board. Who is the board making I see the list of who they make recommendations to, but who practically are they making recommendations to? Is it PSRC that's primarily receiving these, or is it broader?
I think it just depends on the project. Like we've had discussions about Sound Transit. A lot of bus discussions happen, which, that is one thing about being a dual county, is sometimes like the discussion isn't necessarily Milton centric, or, because we don't have the same bus transportation. We're more at the table for opinions. It's kind of like SCA, where, we don't always have a lot at the table, but I feel like for the $100 a year, and that just started, it's worth having a seat at the table just for knowledge. And then if, in the rare case that it comes through Milton, at least we can have an opinion.
Yeah, this seems to be positioned similar to like what PCRC is, when the PCRC is making recommendations on broader topics.
Yeah.
Because there's not a transportation board for the Pierce County specifically, right? I mean,
I don't think we do. I think this is just the South. I don't think, I'm not aware of one for Pierce County, and if there is, I've never been invited or told about it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
I think this was driven a lot by Federal Way and SeaTac. Those are kind of the ones that are the driving force of this board. I attend via Zoom because, again, it's kind of like SCA, where if it's not relevant to Milton, I can tune out for a little bit and then jump back in when it is. But at the low cost, when it was free, it was a no-brainer. At the $100, I just think it's worth being at the table.
100%, it's worth it. I'm curious. So it sounds like it's virtual only. Still?
No, they do hybrid. I've only turned virtual because it is following a council meeting, and so and my Tuesdays are packed, so I always attend virtual. But they do have in-person as well, and it's usually held at like Federal Way City Hall or Renton City Hall, or not Renton, SeaTac.
And do you recall if there's been a discussion or recommendations regarding regional airports?
Not that I recall, no.
Thanks.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? It is an action item. Are there any comments from the audience? All right. It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker and seconded by Councilmember Hall to authorize the mayor to sign the updated SCATB South County Area Transportation Board interlocal agreement as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 6-0. Our last item this evening is on page 275 of your packet. It is ordinance 2127-25, an update to Milton Municipal Code 12.15.090. Council, this is just a simple number change of the insurance requirement for special events. We adopted the $1 million per incident number. It's been a few years now based on an audit that we had. So any parade goer, special event in the park, food truck here at City Hall, any of those we've always required $1 million once WCA, no, it was $1 million. It's $500,000 in the code, but we've been requiring $1 million insurance policy for all of those events. And so we need to update our code, and that's simply what this is. So if I could get a motion to approve. Our motion to open the floor for discussion.
I can do that.
Ready?
Yeah. I move to approve ordinance 2127-25 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Peretti and seconded by Councilmember Cedar to approve ordinance 2127-25 as presented. Councilmember Peretti, did you want to speak to your motion?
Yeah, this is basically getting our ordinance in line with what we've been doing. So it's pretty simple and straightforward.
Councilmember Cedar?
Comments?
Okay. Any other comments, concerns, questions? All right. Any comments from the audience? It is an action item. All right. It's been moved by Councilmember Peretti and seconded by Councilmember Cedar to approve ordinance 2127-25 as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 6-0. Moving on to council reports, Councilmember Hall.
Thank you for our city workers for cleaning up the trail. I mean, literally, it was a disaster. I sent pictures to Director Madden this morning on what the trail looked like. We'd lost some trees. Question, do we have somebody reviewing the trees for, are they gonna, do they evaluate them? Because I know I've seen them do it in previous years, looking to see if there's any possible issues with them on the trail. Like there's some dead ones, they never had leaves this year.
Yes, our team will evaluate it, and we, if there is a tree of significance that we are uncertain of, we'll have an arborist come in and make a formal evaluation. A lot of those trees are alders along the trail there, and so they, as a species, are weak and prone to damage. And so, it's important to keep our tree coverage along the trail, and we'll continue to evaluate that. Spring is a great time to see what's budding, and we can go in and do a large cleanup at that time.
And then do you have any say on what happens with WestDOT and the continued issues with the flooding? Because they keep doing the same thing and this flooding keeps happening because they're dumping that water off the hillside, two of them simultaneously coming down and covering the trail and eroding the trail.
Yes, I will reach out to our counterparts over there and see what can be done to minimize that moving forward.
I keep harping on it, but I hate to see it happen. And, to me, that trail should have been backed off a little bit. And that pipe should be enclosed and going under the trail. So it goes out into where the drainage is, or it needs to go.
We have been evaluating Juniper Street, that new point of connection between our storm system and their their habitat restoration, and I've seen good flow there. But
Okay.
I'll take a tour down to the trail tomorrow.
Okay, appreciate it, thank you. Oh, trunk or treat, good one this year. Appreciate it.
The weather held out for us.
Yes.
Councilmember Schrader?
Nothing tonight.
Councilmember Cedar?
Yeah, I just wanted to flag this. I mentioned it before. It used to be called Climate Conversations. It's now called the Pierce County Alliance for Sustainable Climate Action, or ASCA. They meet roughly every 2 to 3 months. It's a really good group. It's led by Dr. Ellie, who presented here a few months ago. I think she talked about it at that point. But it's all these jurisdictions coming together, pooling resources for grants, ideas for tree canopy coverage, wildfire prevention, things like that, just climate shifting resilience. And they're meeting on December 12th. They meet from 9 to 11 at Puyallup City Hall. I can't stress enough how great of a meeting it is. So I want to flag that. I am just not able to work that into my schedule anymore. So I'm not going. I can push it to the mayor, who can push it out. They'll take 2 representatives from a city, up to 2, and then as many staff as want to be there. They also, I can say that Pierce County offers their staff up to us, which is incredible. Like if we have something that we want to work on, we can just call up their staff and they'll help us figure it out, help us draft grants, things like that. It's a really good resource. Connected to that, there is a wildfire preparedness and smoke resilience preparedness meeting that was scheduled for November 14th. It's going to get pushed to the spring, but I will push that to the mayor as well. There's still going to be a 2-hour info session that's virtual on November 14th. These are great topics and great people hosting them. And then I wanted to say, beyond that, on a more personal note, just want to reach out and say thanks again. The speed bumps all along Emerald, now that all those sections are in, are having a significant impact on speeds through there. I just cannot stress enough how wonderful it is to not hear cars flying up and down there at all hours of the day. It's remarkable. So thank you to Public Works and everyone for the work on that.
Councilmember Peretti?
Yeah, I also want to concur about the speed bumps on Milton Way. That's made on Emerald. That's made a huge difference, even up where we're living up there on that side. It's really, really nice. And I haven't had any complaints about them, or I don't know if the city gets them or not, but I noticed on one area, just to let you know, there's one bump up there on the farthest one up that they're now driving around into the ditch, and I don't know what you can do about that, unless you put bollards up or something, but trying to get around it, but I appreciate them going up. Another question I have is, during that storm and after the effects of after the storm, where does the responsibility lie? There's a couple places I noticed where trees have fell, and it looked like somebody came out and cut them, but they cut them right on the edge of the street. And so when you drive through, if you're just a little bit over, you'll hit a mirror or whatever. And I don't know if is that the property owner's responsibility, or because it's definitely in the right of way. It's over the shoulder. And does the city go around and look at that? And I mean, do we take a chainsaw out and just take care of it, kind of thing? Because there's a couple, like on 28th going down. There's a couple areas down there that the trees, it looks like they've been kind of maintained because it fell during the storm, but they're really out there. I mean, they're sitting out there right on the edge of the street.
I'll need to take a look at them on 28th, but I would say if the tree started in private property, that's private property ownership responsibility. We obviously will respond quickly to any safety issues for streets, but there should be no fallen trees in the right of way.
Yeah, because what it looked like somebody did come out and cut, but they just cut it right even with the pavement, so it's not off the right of way.
In this situation, again, I'll go out and evaluate it, but I will likely have our team just take them back 10 feet, and then we'll send the property owners a letter.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember White?
I'll concur with the comments about the speed bumps on Emerald Street. I've received a lot of positive feedback on them. The negative feedback that I have received are that they're difficult to see, especially at night. And so I would suggest going forward that we paint them a different color so that people don't inadvertently, even if they're going the speed limit, if they hit those things, I would imagine could cause some damage. And I wouldn't want to see the city be liable for that. So they really should be visible and noticeable. And those, I know that there are signs before them, but the signs are so small that they're really not that noticeable either. So that's just the feedback I've received.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mayor Potem?
Thank you. Yeah, paint those suckers.
Okay.
White, yellow, pink. Even though I remember that they're there, and two of them are actually under streetlights, so that's good. I think it's the one that's farthest up or east, doesn't have the streetlight over it, so it's a little bit harder to see. But I love them. Yeah, I've heard only positive things about those speed bumps, and it helps them coming down to 11th, so I don't have a problem with that. Trunk or treat was good. There were a lot of people there for what time it was. So I hope we keep up doing events like that. And the third thing I had was at our last finance committee meeting, we came up with the suggestion that the council be given a list of the businesses that generate the most sales tax, just so then we can maybe focus in on what businesses to focus on retaining, other businesses out there that we could go out and get more of them. And also just to give us all a better perspective on, who generates the most sales tax for the city. And also I just find stuff like that interesting, just to know that. And hopefully it won't be a lot of companies that people are making purchases, on the internet. Well then, okay. But it'd be nice to know though, just by percentage, even like the first, what the top 10 or top 20 are. Just so we'll know where those monies are coming from.
Planning Manager Stoniker?
Just a couple quick notes. The first is dealing with the speed bumps. We had a neighborhood meeting about a potential or about a subdivision project near Emerald, and they all wanted to talk about the speed bumps. So had to remind them that wasn't the applicant's. He didn't put them in. So just letting you know, the Robert was able to, he's completed his 6 months, our building inspector. He and I were also able to do some free training. Bonnie Lake hosted some free training related to shoreline, which was great for both of us to be able to attend, and I appreciate their opportunity to reach out to everybody. And then also Pierce County has reached out to a bunch of local jurisdictions to see if what interest there is to maybe having some sort of pre-approved ADU plans. So the idea that people could come in, these are already pre-approved, and there's different options of whether the city and the county own it or if these are just listed or something, but some opportunities to just kind of make it easy and efficient. And they know if they go with this, as long as it fits on the property, it'll work. So some different collaborative efforts that could potentially be opportunities for the city in the future.
Thank you. I just wanted to update council. We've been very successful lately with new hires. We have a utility supervisor, started his second week, and he has a great deal and depth of knowledge in water. And so he's focusing on eliminating loss at the moment and making sure that all of our meters are calibrated and working with the team. We also hired a lineman and a GIS coordinator today. Was their first day, and then our stormwater coordinator has about a month in and is doing a fantastic job. So thank you for your continued support. Operationally, we're almost fully staffed. We just need a water quality person now, and we'll be a full team. Thank you.
No comments.
No comments, okay. Just two quick things. I do want to thank Councilmember Hall, who provided a trunk at Trunk or Treat this year. I think we had about 200 families come through, and we think, about 300 to 400 kids total came through, or with their parents. So we gave about that much candy out. It was fun. it was great. We, our planning manager Stallnecker, her department did a trunk. Finance did a trunk. Every department did a trunk. We had three from the mayor's office. And it was just neat to see the community come out, but also our staff, working together to provide an event for our community. So they all stayed late and didn't get paid and volunteered and paid for everything in their trunks. And it was really great to see us working together in that capacity. And then just a reminder, City Hall is closed next Tuesday for Veterans Day, and that VFW Post 11401 will have their annual Veterans Day service up at the park at 11 a.m. Is there anything else this evening before I adjourn? Okay. So seeing that all items have been concluded, I will adjourn this meeting at 8:10 p.m.